الرحيم الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا والسيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم أما بعد. All praise is due to Allah. We praise Him, we beseech Him, and we seek refuge in Allah from the evil of our own soul. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guides, then none can misguide him. Whomsoever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala leaves or leads to misguidance, then none can guide them aright. I bear witness and I publicly testify that none has the right to be worshipped in truth but Allah, and that Muhammad ibn Abdullah is his slave and his messenger to proceed. Today, I wanted to talk about a subject that is not related to our topic of black magic, the evil eye, and jinn. But I've decided I will wait until 7:15. I will stop and address this issue. Because this issue, as you know, I try to, when I can, address contemporary issues that are relevant to the community. So I have in the past talked about the so-called Deen Squad, wa inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un, what we're seeing now of the Deen Squad. And any other issue I think that is pertinent to the community, because I don't see you all the time. And there are a number of issues I want to talk about, a number of issues. But some of them I think I will keep for the Jummah khutbah, because those issues are heavy issues. And if I deal with them here, Allahu A'lam what the consequences will be. So I will keep that, Jazakumullah khair. Keep those issues, some of them for the Jummah khutbah. But keep this in mind as I move on to our lecture. Unfortunately, we have two groups of people. Two groups of people. Those who are part of the problem and those who are part of the solution. And no third. If the sum total of what you have been worrying about this week is what Kylie Jenner is going to call her baby, you're part of the problem. If the sum total of what has been on your mind this week what is Khloe Kardashian going to wear, you're part of the problem.
I don't know even the names of the people.
Alhamdulillah. If you ask the young people, do they know these names? Do they know these names? Everybody knows these names. And I censored what I was going to say. I censored what I'm going to say. But if this is your sum total of your life, who killed so-and-so in Hollyoaks, or who killed so-and-so in Emmerdale, or who killed so-and-so on EastEnders, you're part of the problem. And those people who are part of the solution are those people who have made Allah and His Messenger first and foremost. You're part of the solution. To proceed. Last week, brothers and sisters, we started to look at magic and the importance of magic. We said that magic, in the terms of the Arabic language, is that which is hidden. Its cause is hidden. And then we said in the Sharia, magic is the use of particular phrases, incantations, and things, as well as blasphemy, saying things against the religion at the asl of magic in order to get the shayateen to work for you. You have to use blasphemy. If I want somebody, for example, to build this wall, are they going to do it for free? No. You won't find a single person to do something for you for free. There's something that has to be done. So for the shayateen to work with you in magic, you have to do something which goes against the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Falling into kufr, disbelief and shirk. We then looked at a number of verses and ahadith pertaining to the existence of magic. And we looked at the consensus of the ulama in the belief of magic. And this is important. Why is it important? Because we have some Muslims who believe that magic, jinn, angels, the things of the unseen, they are just myths and fables, they don't exist. They say based upon scientific principles, you can't prove that magic exists. I have a question. Very simple question. Evolutionary theory holds that through changes over time, mutations, single cell or certain animals become other animals. So human beings, millions upon billions of years ago, according to their theory, were amoebas, and through mutations, in an attempt to survive, they became human beings. Now, part of this chain is there is something, there is a creature or an animal or a being. From that creature, animal or being, on one hand comes monkeys, on the other hand comes human beings. Yes? Now, mashallah, all of you study science, am I right? I have a question. Forgive me for my impertinence. This being that is the link, they call it the missing link between humans and monkeys. Who's seen it?
No one, that's why it's missing.
Is there any fossils for it? So you might as well say the pixie at the bottom of the garden is a missing link between us and monkeys. Forgive me for my impertinence. It's the St. Lucian blood in me. However, they believe in this missing link. And it's such, brothers and sisters, look at this. If you're a scientist, PhD, 17 books on biology, hundreds of papers, but you don't believe in evolutionary theory, you could lose your job. Wow. Look at that. Us as Muslims, we're supposed to be irrational and fundamentalist. If I believe the world is flat and goes round the sun, and you believe the world is round and the sun goes round it, and I have proof and you have proof, is it a big thing? It's not a big thing. We're not going to start wars. You're not going to lose your job over it. But then they claim that we are dogmatic. Look at that. They claim that we Muslims are fundamentalists. There's nothing more fundamentalist than losing your job because you believe in something called intelligent design. But here is my point. My point is some Muslims, unfortunately, they claim to be following scientific principles, but they're not following scientific principles. Because part of scientific principles is evidence. Where's the evidence? Brothers and sisters, I can bring you thing after thing after thing after thing after thing. Thing after thing after thing, which they, the evolutionists and the atheists, use as proof that there is no God, that they can't answer. That can even show you there is a God. For example, there's something called the Cambrian explosion. Have you heard of this? Except for the sheikh who's learned and read. Anyone else? What about our young people? Your biology teacher, physics teacher, chemistry teacher. Why did they teach you it? The Cambrian explosion, 450 million years, they say. Out of nowhere, literally, are, of course, animals. These are micro animals, small animals, that come out of nowhere, that defy evolution. There is nothing before them to say they evolved from them. Why have we taught this? Why? Why is this one of the best kept secrets? But still people will hold on to evolutionary theory, though many things disprove it. And so those type of Muslims who have a brain that has been colonized will turn around and say, well, magic doesn't exist. And so we use this, brothers and sisters, these proof and evidences, because that's what we go back to. Am I right? As Muslims, we go back to the Quran and Sunnah. There's no shame for it. And this is something we seem to forget. We seem to lose sight of. Our belief, our living, and our dying goes back to the Quran and goes back to the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's no shame in it. Also, we learned last week, is that it is not permissible to learn magic. Magic is kufr, disbelief. So Charlie, which is magic, you can't do it. Ouija board, which is part of magic, you can't do it. Using spells and hexes, you can't do it. Getting a book of magic for fun to see what you can read and learn, you can't do it. To make a little bit of side cash by selling charms, you can't do it. Because sadly in the Muslim world, the man who does the obeah sometimes is the mu'allim, the person who teaches the Quran. Look at that confusion. The one doing the work of shaitan is the same man claiming to do the work of Allah. He teaches Quran in the day, and as they say in the Caribbean, he flies high at night. Fly high meaning as a witch. You know a witch? Witch has a broomstick which she flies high on, yes? So during the daytime they're teaching Quran, at night time they're doing magic. It's a paradox. The two can't come together. We then after this looked at some ways to protect ourselves. We said from them is the adhkar. We also then said the ajwa dates, which is a black date that is found in Medina. And our Prophet told us sallallahu alaihi wasallam that if the person has 7 ajwa date that day, then no magic will afflict them. And this is an encouragement for us to buy ajwa dates and keep them in our houses. In doing my reading on evil eye, which we inshallah will get to today, I was amazed. I was amazed at the concern of the pious predecessors against the evil eye. How many times things may happen to us and we just put it down to just coincidence, where it could be the evil eye. You don't know. Some of us may have the capacity to hate in such a way that we afflict each other. And we forget to say, mashallah. And this thing called jealousy, which we'll study after this, after the evil eye, is powerful. And so we went on to say how to cure magic. That magic can be cured 2 ways. The first way is haram. In most traditional societies, if you have a problem, what do? How do you cure magic?
Go to a magician.
Go to a magician, isn't it? Go to a juju man. How do you call him in East Africa? You call him juju man?
Mganga.
Danga.
Mganga.
Mganga. Mganga.
You have to add a word, wakienyeji.
Mganga wa kienyeji, yes.
Mganga means
Mganga.
Mganga is a doctor.
Mganga
Wa kienyeji.
wa kienyeji. Which doctor, huh? Astaghfirullah.
But in Zanzibar, when you say Mganga, they know which one you mean.
This is the sad reality of Muslims. If I have a problem in my house at night time when everybody's sleeping, you're crashing and banging as if somebody's smashing the kitchen. And when I go in the kitchen, everything is intact. What is a natural impulse for us? We know who did it. We all know it's jinn. You don't need to tell. A Muslim doesn't pray, doesn't fast, doesn't do anything. We'll tell you straight away it's jinn. That's instinctive. But what's our, that's not our reaction. How do we deal with the issue? Right, you're scared. How are you going to solve the problem? This is the problem, isn't it? Yeah? If someone comes to you and says they're going to attack you, how you deal with the problem? You either fight them or get a weapon to defend yourself. Street mentality. What's our way of dealing with things like this? You don't start praying Ayatul Kursi. You don't start doing du'as, straight away go to Juju man. Am I right? Straight away.
But
This is what happened.
Everybody going to ganja, man.
Huh? Not ganja, brother. It's juju. Don't mix the two together. Ganja is weed. Juju is magic. In the juju man, I'm using that expression because many people are from Africa. Almost everywhere in the Muslim world you have an equivalent. I'm sure in Egypt there's an equivalent. Goes without saying, I think. In Sudan, goes without saying. Yes? In Morocco, goes without saying. In Algeria, all of Africa goes without saying. Is it just Africa? All of India goes without saying. India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, it goes without saying. Even in Muslim countries that does not have a tradition of magic, there are people under the table doing magic. In Saudi Arabia, the organization which is called, do you call them the Matawa or the religious police? The religious police, when there are certain like book fairs, etc., they'll have a tent. In this tent, they'll bring all kinds of pictures and videos of things they've caught. You'd be amazed. People from overseas, of course, not indigenous Saudis usually, but people overseas come and they start practicing magic. It's off the Richter scale. In Saudi Arabia, you're not going to ask for £10, £20, £30. You're asking for £1,000, £2,000. People got money, they'll do it. Those who are ignorant. And this is showing us as well that it's not enough just to learn Tawheed in rote. You learn and study it just like that. Tawheed has to be implemented. Because I know people who believed in Tawheed have told me how they went to people who practice magic. They know Tawheed better than me. And I'm not anything. But Tawheed, you don't just learn it the same way you're learning in times table. It's something you implement in your life. And so he said, from the ways of nullifying this magic is by legal ways. That is extracting and nullifying it. Also ejecting the jinni from the body, from cupping, yes, and from ruqyah. These are permissible ways. This is important to emphasize, because if you are bewitched or if there's magic in your house, often the person despairs. And this is the first thing we need, is to have patience.
How do we know if we got jinn and magic in our house?
Shwaya is coming, okay? Intala Shwaya. First thing Muslims do, if we think there's a jinn or magic, what do? We despair. We believe there's no way to cure. We have zero patience. That's why many people are misled to the juju man or juju woman. Why? Because they want a quick result now. I don't want to do no du'as and wait 1 week or 2 weeks. I want a result now. So what do? You go pay your money to somebody who may be a charlatan. And I spoke every week about charlatans. People are fake, who don't know magic or nothing. They take your money and laugh at you. They make you do bizarre things. They give you, for example, turpentine, and in it is food colouring, red food colouring. So it looks like blood and it smells funny. They say to you, wash your hands and wash your face in it. It's toxic, you shouldn't wash your face in it. You go away, wash your face in it. They do all kinds of blasphemy. So you get a broom and you angle the broom on a door and say all kinds of words you don't know. But brothers and sisters, if the Muslim is patient, and we're going to talk about, we've spoken about a bit, there are many ways to cure magic. Do not believe for 1 second there is no way out. And that's the message I want to send home today. There is a way out. So we said, extracting and nullifying the magic? We said by turning to Allah. Turning to Allah doesn't mean you become religious for 5 or 10 seconds. Turning to Allah means you change your whole life around. And I made this emphasis in our last course we did about the Muslim family. When I said the example, a brother told me, a brother came to a man's house and he said, okay, you have this problem, take out the dog, take out the TV, take out the pictures. He said, look, I only called you to do ruqyah, not to change my life. There is no getting rid of magic, halal, unless you change your life. How are you going to ask somebody to come to your house to cure magic and you don't pray? How are you going to call somebody to your house to do ruqyah on you? You don't fast in Ramadan. How? How is that going to achieve anything? You told shaitan to come out of your mouth and you went straight back up your nose. That's what you've done. Came out your mouth, up your nose. And those people who do ruqyah, no one understands. You can do ruqyah and the jinn comes out. Where does the jinn go?
It's coming to you.
The jinn comes out. Where does the jinn go?
Next person.
No. No.
Go into his community.
No. The jinn stays in the same room. In the corner. Why does the jinn do that? Wait till the Raqi goes. When the Raqi goes, he knows there's a way in. Isn't it? If this is water with oil mixing this, never. If you're living a good, pure life, why would an evil jinn want to be in your house in the first place? Why? Doesn't want to be there. It is forced to be there. And if you're praying, if you're fasting and doing ruqyah on top of it, it's too much. It's too much. It's like you as a human being, as a parent, you have a child that does something and does something and does something. Then one day you explode. It's too much. You can't take it. But if the person comes and reads Quran over the person, the jinn will be forced to come out. But the jinn knows and understands this person's not religious. There's always a way for me to come back. As soon as the Raqi gets his money and he's gone down the road, whoop, back in he comes. Because he knows that person's not living a clean lifestyle. And this is the thing, brothers and sisters. So, one of the things that we said in terms of destroying magic is finding the magic itself. Finding the magic and destroying the magic. Believe it or not, the magic, and this is something that we need to think about. That's people, as in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, took some of his hairs and did magic. We need to be a bit, how can I say it in a nice way? A bit more concerning how we dispose of our own personal body matter. How we dispose of our hair. How you dispose of your tissues. Your body matter. Some people don't care. But you have to be very careful. Because there may be somebody, if they need, because a magician will ask something personal from them. Bring me their hair. Bring me a tissue which they blow their nose in. Bring me these things to make that connection. You have to be careful, brothers and sisters. So by finding the magic, you'll be surprised. We don't have time now. Brothers have found magic under their pillows. Sisters have found magic under their pillows, inside their pillows. One of the spouses went home and got magic. Why? To make him do everything I say. To make her do everything I say. So I want him to send money home to my mom, my sister, my auntie, my other. Do the magic, so he does that. Because he says, I'm only sending money to your mom, nobody else.
So it does work.
What does work?
That kind of magic.
Of course it works. To subdue the person. This is the type of magic mentioned in the ayah is to separate man and wife. But also, type of magic people do is to make one of the spouses subservient. People have found magic, brothers and sisters, in the corners of their bedroom. Sometimes in the form of effigies, and I've seen it myself. They take clay and they make, for example, a woman naked and a man naked on top of the woman, pushing down on the woman. What's that all about? What is it about? It's about subduing the woman. People have found on paper, written in blood, writing you don't understand in the house. What's that all about? People come to your house, and I'm not trying to make you paranoid, by the way, yes? But showing you. People, if you don't sweep your house or clean your house regularly, I can come to your house with magic and say, can I use your toilet? On the way to the toilet and back, using powdered magic, sprinkle it in your house. Will it ever go away? No. You don't hoover your house. Put it in the corners. People have done that. I'm not asking anybody. I'm telling you what I know and I've seen with my own 2 eyes. So, by finding the magic, and the Shaykh, he says one way of this is by asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to plead with him to show you, and this may happen with tawfiq of Allah in a dream, that you are shown where the magic is. Also, which is important, that the person tries to find out in their house where the magic is. Because often when people do magic, it's close proximity to you. So looking around, looking in your garden, looking in the grounds of your house, looking inside your house, to see if you can find the magic so you can destroy it. Because that's what it's all about, yes? It is to destroy it. Also, to eject the jinni from the body using ruqya. Ruqya, every one of us can do ruqya on ourselves. And this is what I suggest. However, we need to be careful. Some people have used another method of ruqya where you hit the person with a stick. This is not for anybody to do. We have had in this country cases of Maulvis doing ruqya, hitting people with sticks and killing them. Killing them. The British government are not going to say, mashallah, you tried to do ruqya and it didn't go right. Is manslaughter, let him off. No. You don't believe in magic. You can get 20, 30 years. So when we do ruqya, it is to use from the Quran and Sunnah authentic supplications that we say, or say on the behalf of the person if the person is unable to do so. I spoke to Abu Ibrahim when he came here in the conference that took place last month. He said he made a lovely A4 page with du'as, etc. for ruqya. So I intend to get some of them, to get it, and I will photocopy it and give it out. Okay? Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. So, another means, brothers and sisters, which we underestimate that may help you remove the magic from a part of the body is by what is known as cupping therapy or cupping or hijama. Now, cupping is simple but difficult. It is very simple to do cupping. Yes? Very simple to do cupping. However, it should not be done just by anybody. You need to get some experience cupping. I suggest every single person here practice dry cupping. What is dry cupping? You simply get the special cups, you place them on your skin, squeeze 3 or 4 squeezes, just to allow the blood to come to the surface of the skin, without any incisions, nothing like that. And that helps as well. And maybe what we'll do in the future, maybe organize a cupping seminar. A cupping seminar where we can talk about cupping. Cupping, or hijama as it's called, is taken from the Arabic word hajam, which means something which has size or mass. Hajam means something which has size or mass. It's called hijama, or the word hajam, because when you do cupping, we all know what cupping is, yeah? Brothers, we all know what cupping is, yeah? Or cupping therapy. When you actually place the cup on the skin and apply suction, what happens is the skin goes into the vacuum of the cup and it increases in size. So the Arabs use this term hajam, or size, to refer to the increasing of the size of the skin in the cup. Are you with me, brothers? Yeah? So, it is reported that the Prophet ﷺ was cupped on his head using a horn. A horn. And this is a traditional way of cupping. Cupping has evolved, by the way, where they used to use horns before. If you went to the Prophet's mosque ﷺ in the 90s, they are still there but a distance away. Around the haram, there were men who did cupping, particularly from Africa or of African descent. They used to do cupping. They are still around, but not as plentiful as before. People would go to the haram, especially after Umrah, and they would have cupping done to themselves, yes? Cupping is a cure, a very, very important cure. Something that you can practice on yourselves. But there are certain things we have to think about in terms of hygiene and how we do the cupping. Because if anyone just cups as they think, you can either scar yourself, cause septicemia, where you have horrible bacteria in your blood, which may cause damage to your limbs, and other type of complications. So, Ibn al-Qayyim, he said, cupping is from the most beneficial of cures. So he, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, used it. This was before it was revealed to him that it was magic. When he was informed of it being magic, he turned to cure of extracting it. So, before the Prophet knew about he was afflicted by magic, he used cupping. Then when he was informed, he turned to the cure of extracting it. He asked Allah to show him the place, and he removed it, where the place where the magic was. As we know, we've learned last week and the week before, that he then found this magic that was put there by that person, and it was destroyed. The best time for cupping, on the authority of Abu Hurairah radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, whoever gets cupped on the 17th, 19th and 21st will be cured from any illness. Of course, this refers to the Hijri calendar, not the Gregorian calendar. Don't get it mixed up. Yes, the Hijri calendar. Another way to cure ourselves from magic is what is known as nushra. Now, nushra is a form of incantation or ruqya, which the ill and the insane are cured. And from this nushra is to sprinkle or to pour over them water, and we'll talk about this, infused usually with lotus leaves, sidr. We're going to talk about this in a second. And it is similar to ruqya. The author of a book called Taysir Taysir, which is one of the best explanations of Kitab al-Tawheed, he mentioned Abu Sa'adat said, Nashra is a form of cure which is used on the one who is thought to be possessed by jinn. It is so named because it moves the illness away from him. Hassan al-Basri said, Nashra is from magic. Then Ibn al-Jawzi said, Nashra is to remove magic from the witch person. It is rarely done except by those who know magic. You see from this there are two types of Nashra. The first type, which is halal, which is to use incantations and to use particular chemicals, organic chemicals, to remove the magic. The second type, the ulama say, and if you go to Kitab al-Tawheed, you'll see it, is to hil sihr bi-sihr, is to use magic to cure magic. So the person, in trying to cure magic, what do? They use magic. And this is what those two great scholars refer to as being haram. Because some people will surmise, it's okay for me to use magic to cure magic. I'm not using it to do anything evil, but to cure magic, no. It's not permissible, yes? So, in Sahih Bukhari, it stated, Qatada said, I asked Sa'ad ibn al-Musayyib concerning a man who was bewitched. It is better to separate him from his wife or to cure him of nashra. He replied, there is no harm in it, that is at nashra. They only wish to benefit him, and that which is beneficial is not forbidden. So here again we're referring to the permissible type, using incantations and certain organic chemicals, which we're going to talk about in a minute. Not using magic to cure magic, because that's what some people surmise. Ibn al-Qayyim said, Nashra is removing the magic from the bewitched. It is of two types. The first is to remove it with its likes. This is from the work of shaitan. So to use magic to cure magic, using jinn to fight against the jinn, is from the works of shaitan. And this is what is being referred to in the statement of Hassan. So while performing nashra, and the possessed both perform acts of worship to shaitan, which pleases him, and then removes the magic. So the person who committed the magic is blaspheming, speaking and doing things against the religion. So you come along now and use magic is against blaspheming, speaking and doing things against the religion. Shaitan is pleased, isn't it? Blasphemy did this, now you are using blasphemy to get rid of it. Shaitan is happy. Away goes the jinn, away goes the magic. The second type is to use incantation, du'as, and lawful medicines, and this is permissible. Now, the permissible form of nashra. The great sheikh, the great scholar Sheikh Ibn Baz, he said, and remember Ibn al-Qayyim said you can use permissible medicines. Permissible medicines. He said, an effective cure for a person who is bewitched or restrained from having marital relations. So sometimes the person has magic on them. There is what seems to be an organic change. So the person acts strange or funny, as if they have a psychological condition. Or in terms of magic, what do people do when they do magic? They may not like I said this many times. Here are two people getting on fine. They don't go out begging people for money. She doesn't go to her family and say how bad he is or how good he is. He doesn't go to his family and say, that woman, if I only told you about her, and then he divulges. They keep their business in their house. What inevitably will happen? Somebody gets jealous, isn't it? Yes? Someone gets jealous. We all know this. So somebody may do magic, and this magic comes in different forms. So a person is married, for example, when he goes to his wife, at time of intimacy, he sees an animal, a flash in his mind of an animal, or where she used to smell sweet to him, she starts to smell horrible to him. Magic. Such that he stays away from her, doesn't want to be intimate with his wife. He can't even stand to be with her. Magic. What can we do for this? Sheikh Abdul Aziz bin Baz, he said, take 7 leaves of green sidr. Sidr translated into English is lotus. Now sidr can be bought in the Haramain. If you're going, anyone who's going, you can ask them to purchase sidr for you. Lotus leaves. So you get 7 leaves of green sidr, you grind them. place them in a vessel, so you get the 7 leaves of sidr, grind them, make them into powder, you put it in a vessel, and pour enough water in it to bathe in. Then recite over them Ayatul Kursi, Surah Al-Kafirun, Surah Al-Ikhlas, Surah Al-Nas, and verses 117 to 119 of Surah Al-A'raf. Then Surah 79 to 82 of Yunus. Then verses 79 to 82 of Yunus. Then 65 to 69 of Taha. After he recites what has been mentioned, he drinks some of it and bathes with the rest. And inshallah, with that, he will be cured. This is established medicine. Is it expensive? No. Time consuming? No. Even sidr, if you go to Makkah, Medina, you can buy it cheap. And this is one of the reasons why companies don't want to have natural cures. No, they say natural cures are for everything. No. And we as Muslims, we can use natural medicine as well as, if we have to, synthetic, chemical-based medicine. Because the Prophet said, cure yourselves. But natural medicine, brothers and sisters, is relatively cheap and has very little side effects. Relatively cheap and has relatively side effects. Every single one of us, I'm sure back home, everybody has particular plants they use for particular occasions. If you have a cold, there's a particular plant you would go. For example, now, if you have a cold, what would you do?
Guava leaves, boil it and
Guava leaves, you boil it. Excellent. Anybody else? I'll give you a very, very simple
ginger.
Honey and lemon. Excellent. Huh? What do you mean by black tea? You have to be careful when you say black tea.
With the honey and...
You mean tea that has no milk in it? Okay, that's black tea, not some concoction, yeah? People might get the wrong idea, yeah? So, tea, that's actually green tea or black tea, I call it black tea as well. With honey and lemon, what else?
They use coconut water with the limes or lemon.
Excellent, coconut water with limes and lemon. What else?
And the king is the ginger.
Ginger, I'm drinking ginger, I got a touch of a sore throat, alhamdulillah. Ginger.
We got tree in Zanzibar, I don't know the name in English. They say it cures 40 disease. We call it Warbaini.
Warbaini.
I don't know, do you know the name of it? No.
Yeah, you should bring some of it over. You should plant it, export it.
We use for many.
Mashallah.
And it works.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. Yeah, you got to write that down for me. I've got to check that out. Yeah,
Inshallah.
I need someone to send me a box of that from back home. Yeah. Also, garlic. Also, onion. Yeah. Now, all these cures we have mentioned, they are much more cheaper than synthetic drugs. If you go to buy Lemsip or something like that, how much is Lemsip? £5, £3. Am I right? Yeah. Honey, 99p. Lemon, £1 for 5 or 6. They're cheaper. And so Sheikh Abdul Aziz, he said, continuing, yes? So, inshallah, he will be cured. There is no harm in repeating this twice or more if there is need to do so. There we go. Brother asked, how can I cure magic? There's a cure. 7 leaves of sidr, grind them, put it in a container, pour the container, drink some, bathe some. These are type of things that we should have in our house, sidr. I know over here we don't have it, am I right? But, you know, when you live in Saudi Arabia like I have, many people automatically go to these type of cures. And there are natural homeopathic, natural homeopathic places all over. We go there, you ask for sidr, God can give you a container load of sidr if you want to buy sidr. And many other type of medication.
The name of the tree is neem tree.
Neem tree. I need to write it down for me, yeah? Neem. Someone talked about neem. Yeah, neem is a Something that they're talking a lot about now, neem. Yeah, you're right. I just saw neem the other day in the magazine I was reading. My point. So my point. These are the type of things we have in our house. If you feel there's a problem or issue, that you make it up, you then take this, drink it, bathe yourselves, bathe your children, because you may think it's a cold, but it might not be a cold. With that being said, we move on to the evil eye. The evil eye. I blocked him in. You know the drill, yeah? You know the drill.
Is it golf or Sharon? I tell him golf. He said Sharon.
Okay. The evil eye, brothers and sisters.
What's the eye at the end?
The eye. Should I give it to you at the end? Yeah, yeah. Do it now. Okay. The ayahs are as follows. First of all, Ayatul Kursi. Second, Surah Kafirun. Then Surah Ikhlas. Then Surah Nas. Then verses 117 to 119 of Al-A'raf. Then 79 to 82 of Yunus. Then 65 to 69 of Taha. Then the person gets 7 leaves of Sidr. Sidr in English is lotus. The lotus leaf. You grind it, place it in a container, you pour water. I know in the Haramain they use Zamzam as well, mashallah. Yes?
I think lotus is kind of flower.
Lotus is a flower, the leaves of the lotus.
Okay.
But we'll check up as well, yeah, to make sure we get the precise. And by the way, brothers and sisters, there are, a Tibb al-Nabawi, the prophetic medicine, there are a number of things. One of the things, believe it or not, that cures many things is the Senapod. You know Senna?
Yes, and for toilet.
Yes. Senapod is used for going to the toilet as a laxative. But there's a hadith of the Prophet that it cures many things. Also, Habbat al-Soda. Habbat al-Soda should be something in our diet. You with me? Habbat al-Soda is cheap. That's something we should always have in our diet. And honey. Pure honey. I don't know about Bedford, but there should be a farmer's market somewhere. Is there a farmer's market?
There is.
I'm sure.
Wednesdays and Saturdays. Yeah.
MashaAllah. There must be a farmer's market because you have farms around here. So from the farmer's market you will go to buy pure natural honey.
But there is no pure natural honey 95% in all the world.
No, Sheikh, I disagree with you.
They cheat in the food of the bee.
Listen to what I'm saying. A farmer's market, the people who sell, we have one in our area. The person who sells the bee, the honey, is a beekeeper himself.
Yeah, they are cheating the food of the bee, the nectar.
What do you mean by cheating?
Because the bee is supposed to suck the nectar from
Yeah.
the flower.
Okay.
They put in artificial glucose.
Artificial glucose, okay. I only know about artificial glucose honey from that stuff you buy in Tesco's.
So consequently, the bee producing the
Okay.
honey.
What you then need to ask, is it organic? Isn't it? If it's organic, it's not going to have any other bypass process. That's why I say go to the farmer's market. The person selling you the honey is the person who produced it, isn't it? Yes? It's not from a factory. It's from the person. Even the honey you buy in the supermarket, I buy honey for 99p. Many times not even honey. It's just syrup. You know syrup?
Yes,
They get a big vat of sugar, boil up the water, put it in the thing and make it with colouring. It's syrup, it's not even a thing. It's syrup. But what I'm saying, get organic honey, yes? For example, you could buy honey from Hadramaut. And I don't think we need to buy from Hadramaut here.
1 kilo, 100 pounds.
Yeah. If you're in the Gulf region, you buy honey from Hadramaut, which is in Yemen. If you got if you got a good person selling you honey, you know, 1 kilogram, a jar of this honey is like 100 pounds, 150 pounds.
That's right.
Pure honey. So we have the same thing, organic honey here. So, Ibn Qayyim said, from the most beneficial cures for magic are the divine cures. They are the beneficial in and of themselves for the effects of evil, and low spirits are only repelled by that which opposes them from the adhkar, dua, and verses which nullify and weaken their effects. Going on now to the evil eye, the evil eye. The reality of it is to look at something with admiration whilst feeling jealous or envy, and this causes harm to the person looking at it. Cause harm and envy, and we're going to talk about this a bit. Ibn Qayyim said, it is like an arrow which leaves the heart of the envious towards the one being envied. Like an arrow leaving the heart, imagine an arrow, sharp end which cuts and kills. Leaves the heart of the envious towards the one being envied. Sometimes it will hit the target and sometimes it will miss. Sometimes it will hit the target, sometimes it will miss. If it finds him without any armor or protection, it will strike him. However, if it finds him with shields and armor, which has no gaps, it will not affect him. It is similar to a real arrow, for one is from the soul and the heart, whilst the other is from the body and the limbs. This is what he, rahimullah, said about the evil eye. Is the evil eye the truth? Yes. There are a number of verses from the Quran that prove the evil eye. Allah tells us in Surah Yunus in the 67th verse, and he, Yaqub, said, O my sons, do not enter by one gate, but enter by different gates, and I cannot avail you against Allah at all. Indeed, the decision rests only with Allah. In Him I put my trust, and let all those that trust put their trust in Him. Ibn Abbas, Muhammad ibn Ka'b, Mujahid, Dahaq, Qatada, and Sudai, these are all scholars of our pious predecessors from the Sahaba and other than them, they said that Yaqub, he feared for them the evil eye, for they were all handsome and possessed beauty. The evil eye is real. It causes the horse rider to fall from his horse. Listen carefully, because some Muslims, when you tell them about the evil eye, we have two extremes. The colonized who don't believe in it, and the people who fall into superstition. Have you noticed in some Muslim restaurants when you go there, there's called the Eye of Fatima, a blue eye. Have you seen that before?
Yeah.
Some people more than others.
5 fingers.
Sometimes they have a hand, in it is the eye. Have you seen that? They believe that this repels the eye. Of course it does. You're blaspheming, so it doesn't need to go there anymore. Isn't it? Why would you, if you're a person who is a blasphemer, why would Shaitan need to do anything with you? Khalas, you're gone. So why would he go in your shop? You already have shirk in there. So why does he need to do anything to you? Doesn't need to. And it's amazing. Certain countries, more than others, it's almost like a cultural thing. This Eye of Fatima, they call it, has nothing to do with Fatima. Radillahu anha. Also within the Quran, in Surah Al-Qalam, in the 51st to the 52nd verse, Allah says, and indeed those who disbelieve would almost make you slip with their eyes through hatred when they hear the reminder, that is the Quran, and they say, indeed, he, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is a madman, but it is nothing else than a reminder to all of the creation. Concerning this verse, Ibn Kathir said, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, this means that they will give you the evil eye. That is, they become envious of you due to their hatred of you. They see you on the haqq, they see you on the truth, they give you the evil eye. Like those Muslims who don't want to practice Islam. They are not content that they don't practice Islam, they don't want you to practice Islam. So you have some people here in this country who have left Islam. So you've left Islam. Do they say, okay, I've left Islam and get over my life? No. They form organizations, ex-Muslims. And they have Muslim on the brain. every single problem, every single issue is Islam or Muslims. So, they become envious of you due to their hatred of you. Were it not that Allah had protected you and shielded you, this is evidence showing that the evil eye, its effects are real if Allah wills it. Again, we learn in the Quran, Allah tells in Surah Al-Falaq, say, I seek refuge with Allah, the Lord of the daybreak, Al-Falaq, from the evil of what He has created, and from the evil of the darkening night as it comes with its darkness, and from the evil of those who practice witchcraft, when they blow in the knots, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. Here Allah says, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. The envier envying doesn't just have to be with what they say or what they do, can be the evil eye. We learn from the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ that has been narrated by Abu Hurairah, which the Prophet ﷺ said, the evil eye is true, haqq, and he forbade tattoos. Another hadith, Aisha, our mother radiallahu anha, the Prophet ﷺ said, seek refuge in Allah from the evil eye, for indeed it is true. So the Prophet told us, seek refuge in Allah from the evil eye.
How we seek refuge, the proper way to seek refuge?
We'll talk about that inshallah. Yes, coming, yeah? So all we're giving now is a proof. 3. The hadith of Ibn Abbas that the Prophet said, the evil eye is true, and was anything to precede the decree of Allah, it would be the evil eye. And if you are asked to bathe, then do so. We'll talk about what does this bathing mean later on. 4. The Prophet ﷺ said, indeed the evil eye can have an effect with the will of Allah upon a man until he ascends a mountain and then falls from it. Look at that. Also we learn from the Prophet ﷺ in the hadith of Aisha, when the Prophet ﷺ would feel unwell, Jibreel would read over him and say, in the name of Allah, may you recover, and from all illnesses be cured, and from the evil of the envier when he envies, and from the evil of the one who gives the evil eye. Look at that. We learned a couple things in this hadith. Here is our beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, whose past and future sins have been forgiven. No Muslim, I think, questions the fact he's going to Jannah. Did he ever say, well, I'm going to Jannah, I don't need to do the du'as? We see here, Jibreel will read over him. We also see from our Prophet ﷺ, he was afflicted by magic. As a lesson to us, if he could be afflicted, what about us? Also, he would say his supplication, think about it. There's a fantastic book called The Medinian Society by Dr. Akram Dia Al-Amari, or Umari his name is. It's been translated in English. I don't think it's available much now. But that's a fantastic book to read about the seerah. It talks about the Prophet going to Medina, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Can you imagine how many different groups of people envied and hated the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam?
Many.
A number of groups of people. The mushriks hated him. The Ahl Kitab hated him. The Munafiqun hated him. How many people hated him? They prayed for the Prophet to die sallallahu alayhi wasallam before the completion of his mission, so the Muslims would be left stranded. But this, alhamdulillah, didn't happen. Allah completed and conferred his favor upon us. Everything we need is there in the hadith, in the Quran. It's all there for us, nothing left standing. So can you imagine at that time how many people envied and hated the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such that their envy and jealousy led to one of them doing magic on him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There's a hadith of Jabir in which the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Asma bint Umays, why is it that I see the bodies of my brother's children weak and lean, thus causing them illness? She replied, they are afflicted with the evil eye. He said, recite over them, So they were brought to him, and he said, recite over them. So you may feel weak today. You may feel down or depressed today. This could be because of the evil eye. And as we will learn, inshallah ta'ala, next week, the evil eye, brothers and sisters, doesn't have to be the person looking at you giving the evil eye. The evil eye could be somebody mentioning you or something about you, not in your presence. And you don't know. And somebody is afflicted. So we see here, brothers and sisters, that the evil eye has been mentioned in the Quran and the Sunnah to be the haqq, to be truthful. The believing male, the believing female seeks refuge and are asking Allah to help them, beseeching Him. If we were at sea, in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, in a ship, and the ship was rocking and tossing to and fro, what would happen? Excellent, yes? Those people who don't pray, who don't fast, just by Muslim by their passport, what's the first thing they would do? Hands out, making dua. Yes? I've been on an aeroplane on the way to Qasim, and the aeroplane went up, and it went down, then it went up because of turbulence. I swear I thought I was going to die that day. I said, this is it, Father. I said, this is it. The plane was going up, so you go up, I don't know, 30, 40 meters in the sky, then it would come down again. We thought that was it. Everybody on the plane, what do we do? Hands out, making dua, yes? Hands out, making dua. Beseeching, it's a dua that, people who play the lottery, and they come upon hard times. Gas is there, electricity is there, rent is there, Eid is coming or Christmas is coming, so they need a good 3 or 4 grand. So they get the lottery ticket scratching away. When they go home, hands out, oh Allah, help me, please help me to win the lottery. He puts his mind, his body, his soul into it. Am I right, yes? He puts everything in that dua. Even sometimes he cries so much, he starts to cry blood. He's put everything in it. This is with ourselves, of course, in a better way, for a better thing. Now we beseech Allah to protect us and protect our children. You don't know. Once you have a child who's a good boy or a good girl, then they flip. Happens to everyone. All of us got our war stories. But this flip may be because the child is negligent, or it could be the evil eye. Somebody sees your son, your daughter, going to the masjid, praying, saying salam alaikum, just being good. What happens? Envy. And I tend to think sometimes that amongst some Muslim communities, we have more envy and jealousy than other communities. Because more times than not, Muslims don't want to see other Muslims progress or do good.
That's true.
You always expect haters. Am I right? You expect haters. But you see for yourself, if you have a business, those of you who have businesses, you know what I'm talking about. Just buy a new car and see what happens to you. Just have a car. When people, and it happened to me personally. When I had a banger, nobody recognized I had a car. When I had a car, I paid £500. People assumed I came by the bus. Allah blessed me to buy a decent car. All of a sudden, everybody recognized, oh, you got a new car.
It can convert to donkey.
I used to park my car away from the masjid for this. We come from a Caribbean background. This type of stuff we know inside out. Magic, evil eye. We grow up with this stuff. But people recognize. So brothers and sisters, when you're trying to do halal, or trying to do something for yourself, it seems as the haters increase. When I was making good money, working for somebody else, and complaining, everybody seems sympathetic. I started to work for myself, making less money, but doing my own thing. The haters seem to be increasing. That's That's the state of our community, unfortunately. You tell me if I'm lying.
No, that's right.
It seems that if you go tell non-Muslims about your success, they're happy for you. You go tell the believers about your success, it's hard to... You'll find maybe 1 or 2, 3, 4 good people, 1 or 2 people who are able to scrape mashallah from their tongues. Everybody else just needs to look at you. Only Allah knows what's in their hearts. Why is that?
No, you can see in the face, it turns to yellow and the lips...
Allahu Musta'an. Allahu Musta'an.
If you succeed. Wallahi.
Allahu Musta'an. You tell somebody you have a business, they're frowning. You tell them, you know, I have to shut my business, not enough customers, they're laughing, they're smiling. Why is that? Why? Jealousy, envy. If this is the case, and I think all of us know what I'm saying is the truth, and it's sad. It's sad that you would go tell the non-Muslim your plans. You would sit down with your neighbors, your colleagues, and say, look, I want to do this. Even though you know non-Muslims can give evil eye to the Muslim. You know that. You feel safer to go tell the non-Muslim your plans, this, than you would to a Muslim. You have to think twice. Should I tell this brother or sister what I plan to do? Nah. That's sad.
Rasulullah said,
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
"Ista'inu ala qada' hawajikum bil-kitman."
The Prophet indeed told us that we need to be selective and secretive in what we say with our plans, without a doubt. Without a doubt. But do you get my point I'm trying to make though? In our community we seem, especially for ourselves, when it comes to one of our own, we're jealous. When it comes to other people, we seem to be happy for them. Muslim open a business, frowns all round. Non-Muslim open a business, smiles all round. This is how we are. Where other communities are not like that. If you say to a Muslim, your brother is selling something, support his business. Well, you know, it's too expensive, it's too far. Excuse after excuse. Other communities, like the Jewish community, they support each other. They buy from each other. Why is this, brothers and sisters? It is because of jealousy. Now, I'd like to bring our discussion about the jinn, magic and evil eye to a close. And I'd like to address something. For the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes. What time is Salah today? past. This week, brothers and sisters, in the news was something that some of us found shocking and some of us found to be expected. Can anybody guess what I'm going to talk about? Ah, someone said it. What did you say? ISIS? Nah.
Was it Donald Trump?
Nah. Donald Trump said something. One of the brothers spoke to me about Donald Trump, what he said about Africa. And I want to say, Donald Trump only had the guts to say what they believe. That's what they believe. Do you think they see Africa, a continent that has every single mineral, is independent? Name me any continent that's independent like Africa. Name me. There's none. Oil, we got it. Cobalt, we got it. Water, we got it. Vegetation, we got it. What don't we have? Can someone tell me what we don't have in Africa? We have everything. Do they have oil in China? Do they have oil in America? They don't have what we have. Huh? They have oil. Is it mineable oil? What happened? What happened to BP when they mined their oil? What happened? A natural disaster beyond belief. We have oil beyond belief. We have oil in Sudan. We have oil in Nigeria. We have oil in Somalia has oil. Everywhere has oil. Tanzania, you're right. Yes, mashallah, Mabruk. Welcome to OPEC, by the way, Tanzania. In 6-7 years' time, you'll go to Tanzania and Zanzibar, you will see nobody wearing traditional clothing. All white thobes and shamags, that is the Arab dress, and igalas, yes? Yeah? It has everything. The only thing, he said what they believe. That's all he did. Do they see Africa as anything but that? No. And I was speaking to this with somebody else today. You've got to stop looking at things morally. What's morally right? They don't use morals. They look at things from their own national advantage. They believe they're superior and we are inferior. They believe they're right and we are wrong. They believe that they are saviors of humanity and we are terrorists. That's it. If you start looking at universal moral things, you get mixed up. But that's not what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, just for 5 minutes now. As you know, there was an advert for H&M in which had a young black male saying the coolest monkey in the jungle. The coolest monkey in the jungle. That doesn't surprise me. When I saw it, it doesn't surprise me. That's sad to say, isn't it? The same way when Donald Trump called Africa what he called it, doesn't surprise me. Why is somebody surprised? That's what they believe. But there's two things that surprise me. One, you're telling me a multi-million international company, from the design board all the way to the photographer, nobody understood that people of African descent take offense to be called monkeys. What did they used to call us in the 60s? They called us banana munchers, mango munchers. When Ian Wright went to play football for Arsenal, they went to Millwall. Notoriously racist football team.
They threw in bananas.
They threw what? Ian Wright? They threw bananas. Why? Because of Darwin's theory. What did Darwin say? Darwin held that Africans were closer to the initial stages of evolution. We're just like monkeys. All of us who are black and brown, those who are brown, you don't get escape here now. Yeah? Some of us will say, well, I'm not that dark. You don't get a pass here. Darwin didn't look at anybody outside of Europe. Didn't look at people in India and say, oh, mashallah, they're like us. Didn't look at people in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh as being civilized. Nah. So those of us who are black and brown, we are closer to that primate, the monkey, that is what split off between monkeys and humans. What then is at the top of civilization ladder? It is Wana. Europeans. Yes? They're at the top. We have been, Darwinism, when it comes to them, has been used for hundreds of years to justify our subjugation, to justify slavery, colonization of Africa, colonization of India, stripping them of their natural resources and minerals. Stripping of the national resources and minerals for hundreds of years. I told you, brothers, if you go look at Tarzan, that was made in the 30s and 40s, how they depict African people as cannibals. Or you can't even see them in the jungle. All you can see us is the whites of our eyes. Can't even see the people. You see the whites of the eyes and the bone through the nose. That's what you can see. No, it's not a joke. Am I joking? I'm not joking. I'm not even laughing. This is the reality. You're telling me educated people. Educated. Everyone has a degree. They didn't know. All the way from the top to the bottom, that by having a black person say the coolest monkey in the jungle, it wouldn't cause offense. And I'm here to say, brothers and sisters, I don't believe they understood. Because they don't know about anybody but themselves. Neither do they care about anyone but themselves. Because equality is a platitude, just something you say on your lips. It's not something they believe in. Where is equality? It's not something they believe in, just something they say. But brothers and sisters, what shocked me is the responses of people. Now, this is Metro newspaper. Forgive me for my sins. Here is a newspaper representing London commuters. London is one of the most multicultural cities in this country. Of the 9 million people in London, 1 in 9 are Muslims. You count 9 people, 1 of them is a Muslim. We have the largest percentage of Muslims in the UK are in London. More than Birmingham, more than anywhere else. But the difference between London and Birmingham is Muslims are spread out. Where in Birmingham, they're concentrated in particular areas. Black people as well, people of African descent, whether from the Caribbean or from Africa. Where is the largest concentrations of these people? In London. What I fail to understand, here is a newspaper which represents London, and they publish two letters. I like to read them. I don't have time to unpack them. I like to read them. Just a couple minutes. Can I do that, brothers? Can I read the letters? Here's letter number 1. I see reading letter number 1. As a black man, he should have said, as a coon, forgive me. As a black man, I don't find H&M featuring a black boy wearing a monkey hoodie racist at all. They claim, Metro claims a black person wrote this letter. He wasn't black. He was somebody, black skin, but white internally. I censored myself. Yes, we call them on the street coconuts. Yes, or bounty. Black on the outside, white on the inside. As a black man, I don't find H&M featuring a black boy wearing their monkey hoodie racist at all. Why can't a boy of any color wear this? Because a boy of any color didn't wear it. It was a black boy. There's a 400-year legacy of white supremacy that resulted in Africans being enslaved and dehumanized. If a white boy wore it, it wouldn't be an issue. No, it wouldn't be an issue. Because no one calls white people monkeys. Ian Wright went to Millwall. What do they throw at Ian Wright? Bananas. Would they throw would the racist fans throw bananas at somebody who was white, like Rooney? No. So he says, I think people complaining should look at themselves. Wallahi, I'm looking at myself. I'm looking at myself. What do I see when I look at myself? What do I see? Brothers and sisters, the legacy of slavery isn't just slavery itself. And it's not just the images people think of people of African descent. Slavery means your life chances, where you can work, where you can't work, where you can live, where you can't live. Do you know the highest rates of schizophrenia? It is a mental disease. You hear sounds, you see things. The highest instance of schizophrenia in the world is in the UK Afro-Caribbean community. That should be shocking. The highest rates of this mental illness. If you're going to say, well, it's indigenous to black people, why is it in the Caribbean? You would imagine that Jamaica has the highest incidence of schizophrenia. No. Barbados, no. St. Lucia, no. Tanzania, no. Nigeria, no. Here in the UK. So racism is real and affects people's life chances. So he said, they should look at themselves. Wallahi, I'm looking at myself. And the statistics, the government kindly published 60-page review of statistics. talking about race in the UK, and it is a damning criticism of the UK. How racist we are. We have made so many advances in other things like gay marriage. We're stuck in limbo when it comes to race. If you go to a job, your name is Mohammed, you won't get the job. You go to the job, your name is Clark, you get the job. They have done experiments. It's so sickening. The same qualification, everything the same except for the name. And these dumb people didn't even look at it and say, hey, same address or same qualifications. They sent the same CVs to companies. The one with Abdurrahman lost the job. The one with Fatima didn't get the job. The one with Shaniqua didn't get the job. These people didn't get the job. But those with the European sounding names were called for an interview. What does that say about us? And we're overseas fighting. Think about this, brothers and sisters. In the Muslim world, we have some of the worst tyrants ever in the 20th or 19th century. But still in those countries, Muslim women can wear the hijab and niqab without ruffling a feather. Walk down the street, here is a tyrannical ruler. We agree he's a tyrant like Gaddafi. We agree he's a tyrant. But under Gaddafi, a Muslim woman wearing a hijab, nobody will say anything to her. Fast forward to our situation under liberty and democracy. What do we have? Some areas are no-go areas for Muslims. You can't go. As a Muslim, if you go to those areas, you're going to be assaulted and abused. What's your proof? As you all know, last month or the month before, there was a program about a white woman from Cheshire, the whitest place in the UK. And she came and she put on the cultural dress of a Muslim, even changed her nose. And she did this experiment to see what it was like being a Muslim woman. At the end of this experiment, she went back to her local area, with the Muslim woman's dress. As she went past the pub, what happened? A barrage of insults. They called her names. Go back to your own country. This is 2017. Go back to your own country. Where? London? Where are you going to go back to? It was so bad. Another English lady came to her and said to her, you know, I'm really sorry, they're ignorant. I had to explain to her. This woman saw what Muslim went through. She started off believing Banda Burqa to no. Muslim women